Hello everybody, welcome to Founders Mindset. In this podcast, we speak to founders of different fields, try to understand what is it that makes them a startup that you need to watch out for. What did they do for marketing, for sales, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, everything let's decode together in this podcast. In today's episode, we have Radhika Gupta, the founder of Life Skills Learning. Now, what does life skill learning do? How is it a startup that you need to watch out for? Let's understand it together in this episode. Hi Radhika.
Hi, how are you, dear Vandana?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's so nice to be with you. Thanks for having me here.
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much for coming. So, let's try to understand what is life skills learning? What do you do?
So, we are a partner to a parent. I'm a mother of two, and when I was going through this journey of having two kids and different learning requirements at different ages of their education journey, I was always looking for a place where I can have all their academic and co-curricular learning at one place. These days, parents are very busy, and we are always looking out for a place who can be a partner, not just I am doing one part of the thing and I'm just worried about the coding segment, say for example, or a math segment of your child's learning. I wanted a place where all my kids' learning can be addressed, and somebody who can help me in handling the schedules as well as making sure the holistic development of my child is coming across. And when I was in this journey, I was not able to find even a single institute who was coming down to be a partner to a parent, able to understand all the learning requirements of their child, what they want to do, what their weak areas is, where the parents wants to strengthen, what the passion of the child is, where the child wants to excel themselves, and come up with curated programs across that set. And that's how I started Life Skill Learnings. It started during COVID, so that was a burning need at that time, because all the working parents are in a distress. They are at home, kids are at home, no help at home, and all the mothers were in very bad situation. And that's when I started Life Skill Learnings, where we started working majorly on the elementary students to start with when I started my journey. And then we started with one segment, one area. Slowly we keep on adding. When we are talking to the parents, we keep on adding to our portfolio. So right now we have 20 plus skills across elementary, middle and high schoolers. So we are currently became a one-stop destination for each parent to address all the academic and co-curricular learning needs of their students, of their child, I would say. And we can help them in taking them from elementary to middle school, what all the learning requirements they would have, what would be appropriate for them, for their life, to be prepared for their life. And then from their middle school, what kind of foundation they would need so that they can excel in high school, because high school is very critical time for a child. And when they get into high school, how they get ready for the college preparations. So we offer all the courses across, and in a nutshell, we became a partner to a parent.
That's amazing. It's like, having an L&D for your child. We have L&D in corporates. So you are for the children at a very young age. So
at a very young age.
Really nice.
Right.
So you said that there are so many different programs, right, which aids the kids not only in the academic front but also in the passion front.
Exactly.
So how did you come up with this different passion list? Because there are so many activities over there, right? From chess, Rubik's Cube, art, graphic designing, so many.
Right.
So how did you feel like, okay, this should be something that we need to put it as a passion list?
No, that is a very valid question, and the very simple answer to that is we went as per the demand. Okay, to be very honest. Okay, so as per the requirements were coming, we never said no. Okay, to any child, that if you want to learn, and even if we didn't had an offering, we tried to add that offering. From a business standpoint, it might feel you should not have a portfolio where you're not having a lot of students, and many tells me to shut off those verticals also. But to be honest, as a value giver to a parent, we want to have as many offerings as possible for the parent. And when it comes to curately devising what is needed for the child, so what we have done is around our co-curricular segment, we have thought of what are the sports that a child can learn. Okay. And from that as standpoints, because it's an online institute, very important to understand for everybody, because we are an online institute, we are global and hence we are online. And so we kind of created different segments. One is about sports, okay. Another is about music and the passion in the musical stream, and that gives a lot of patience to the child when they are learning music. And another is the art, the different forms of art. So from the chess and Rubik's cubes becomes our areas where the strategy of the mind and the brain sports comes up into picture. And then the piano and the guitar and the vocal musics, be it Hindustani, Carnatic or Western vocals, they becomes a part where the students are learning the music and preparing themselves for a stress-free life in the future. Music is like a healer, to be honest, right? And then comes an art part where kids can express their creativity, develop more into it from the art and craft to the digital art. We have all the offerings. So yes, our passion segment is divided into the brain sports, about the musics and the arts.
That's so nice. I mean, right from the physical aspect of it to the digital aspect of it, you're covering it.
Exactly.
And so, do you remember when you procured your first client? Any experience or any memory of it? Because it was an online thing.
Exactly.
And you are a parent. Of course, the initial clients could be, your kids' friends.
Right.
But other than that, do you
Right.
remember the first client that came up to you?
Yeah, I know. For any business in that matter, right? The trust of the first parent or the first student is very essential. And my journey started with. So I always wanted to do something beyond my beyond my corporate life into the kids' education space. Being a mother of two, I was finding a lot of gap there, and. To be honest, I tried venturing into it before COVID also, right? But I didn't get a lot of success with online before COVID, and then COVID happened, and it was like a natural need of the hour for anybody to get into online education. And when I started it off pre-COVID phase, the same parent came back to me from US that my child, now the COVID is struck, my child is at home, I want you to take the classes back. And that's when it struck to me that there's a lot of potential, in this model, and people are desperately looking for some curated classes for their kids. And that the first child was something that we did it pre-COVID phase, and it didn't turn out to be very sought out option at that time. But with COVID happening, and it happening for 2 years in a row, every child became a master in online learning by now. And then the things started rolling very fast. So to be honest, pre-COVID phase, it was a challenge for me. Even I was thinking whether it is a viable model or not. But post, when the COVID happened, it just swung by itself. It was like a requirement, need of the hour, and the Edtech was flourishing at that time, and it just goes by the pace. So that's how the journey started.
So first only you got an international client.
Yes. So to be honest, when I was starting, I was also finding there is a lot of lot of startups as well as a lot of options available within India, but there is a gap when it comes to the parents abroad, the Indian parents abroad, who actually misses the connect with India, who want their child to have more and more connect with Indian culture and values, as well as the kind of like private tuitions are so expensive out there, because I had been to US a couple of times and I saw that gap. It's so expensive, the private coachings are so expensive there that either the parents turn up teaching themselves because they have the full-time job, but they do the teaching of their child also by themselves, or they just either they get into the heavy priced private coachings, or they just leave it, right? So our venture was in the middle term, and from start only I have that thought that I want to do it for Indians abroad, right? So that's how it flourishes. So, but yeah, I mean, it started off with that mindset.
Okay,
only. Yeah.
that's nice. I mean, your vision was to, cater to parents who are Indians, who are placed in different countries, not just US, but say even in UK or Australia or any other place. And it's a good thing, like wherein everybody is connected to their home space.
Exactly.
Right? So that's very, very nice approach.
Nice.
And so any reason why it's only kids, why not adults? Because when I was looking at your courses, there were a couple of them that even I was interested in, learning. So any specific reason other than what you mentioned that you want to only focus on kids and not on adults?
Right. It's just that the impact you can make. Right. So with adults, there is a lot of unlearning that needs to happen.
Correct.
Because they have already got some their thought processes or their ways of working, right? And it becomes a challenge to unlearn those things and learn anything new from foundation. But with the child, it's like an open slate, I would say, right? It's a blank slate, and you can easily put a right foundation for them from starting. So the continuity, the discipline of learning, and the impact we can see in a child is much more than an adult, right? And to be honest, there are some parents, when we were teaching music to their child, they were like, I always wanted that to be done for myself, but I never got that exposure when I was a child. I want to do it now. And to be honest, they start, and within a month the discipline starts falling off, because there's so much on an adult's plate, right? So the discipline for learning becomes difficult for an adult to continue, but for a child, it's actually their age. They have lot to absorb, and they are ready to commit. So that's why my courses are majorly curated only for kids, because I can see the discipline that they can put into learning.
That's nice. I mean, you're right, because anytime I take up any course, so we can commit to it for like 2 months or max 3 months.
Right.
And after that, either you have to travel or something or the other comes up and you're like, okay,
Right.
I need to take a pause. So I think that's a very nice observation. And from the very beginning, you're clear that you want to only do it for kids.
Yeah.
Right? And when you said about global, you did a couple of events as well. You have a community called as Learners Club.
Right.
So what is the intention behind having this, and how did you feel like, okay, I want to get into this particular space, I want to teach this in this workshops, and that's how I reach out to my audiences?
Right. So see, life skill learnings or this venture is not about for profit only. So we have a wing which is non-profit, and what we are actually trying to do is to have a global community of kids or children, and we want to encourage a lot of real life inspirations for the children to look up to, that okay, if a friend of mine of my age can do it, why cannot I? Right? Or in a scenario that we do a lot of free workshops and learning opportunities for everybody for free, so that they can excel. So in a nutshell, I would say it's not it's not always for profit, right? It's from the inside, and to be honest, right, we started Learners Cafe the moment we started life skill learning. So it's not that after we got some success we started this wing, but it was the thought of community building from start. And both the channels started parallelly. The profit and the non-profit channel started parallelly, and this is our way to give back to society and, to be honest, encourage the child to do more. Right? Don't stop yourself. See, there are many who are doing, and how you can also do, right? Reach your maximum potential. So that was the thought that I had, and I always believe child learns a lot when they have friends teaching them. Right?
So you're telling me that in Learners Cafe, it's the students who are teaching?
Exactly. So what we do in Learners Cafe is threefold. Okay, one is where a child who has achieved something good in their areas of passion, right? And they come up and take the sessions to everybody. That how, let's say for example, there's a child prodigy. We have taken their interview. So if you have reached a national level, chess prodigy level, what kind of commitment you need. So every child has 8 hours of school these days, and after that 8 hours of school, they are able to put 4 hours more for chess learning. Look at the commitment that girl has, and she is just 8 years old.
Wow.
Look, now this is where you start questioning ourselves that if she can do it, why can't I? Right? These are the real life inspirations which makes our child understand that what kind of timetable they are following. Is it that they are never going for playing? No, they are going for playing, but still they are putting a 4 hours daily for their chess learning. Right? Is it? It's not that they have left the school; they will have their homeworks and everything. So then we have on Guinness Book of World Record for the storytelling. Right? So she is also an 8-year-old from Kolkata, India, and she is inspiring the world to read and learn. Right? And she is doing a lot of free workshops and everything. Right? And she has got like the youngest storyteller of the world award.
Wow.
Right? And as a Guinness Book of World Record. These are the things we want our child to get inspired by. So this one section is where the child who have done good in their segment, not only like really world renowned, even somebody who has got a Trinity College of London's piano certification. So that child can come and say what all I did, what are the tips and tricks of getting maximum.
That's nice.
Right? So it is that small and big, but keep on giving them real life inspirations so that others can get an understanding of what they did and what I can get it. And then we do like teacher-led, instructor-led workshops also, so that an expert is coming and taking the free sessions on some topics. And the third segment is where we call out industry veterans as well as the industry leaders, and they come and talk. Like a lot of the Women's Day, we have an author of Girls Talk, Girls Talk book, and an head of diversity and inclusivity from US. So this Women's Day, we have them as our guest, and they are sharing the experiences. They are sharing how the workplaces are shaping up these days, and modern women as in girl who are going to be our future leaders. How we can create a community, create a society for them that it's not they have to be equals to men. The society is turning out to be equitable for them. Right? So like a lot of things we are doing just to promote the thoughts, just to do non-profit part of it also, if you say that, but like building a community and making an impact from there.
So that's really very, very inspiring, I would say, because I like taught the three verticals.
Right.
The kids vertical is my favorite because
Yeah.
At such a young age, if they're able to do all these things and inspire kids of their age,
Right.
I think that's so incredible.
Right, and when they can talk it out to them, right, in person, it's not that some figure in a
I know.
poster, right,
Yeah.
and then they can actually talk it out. Oh, I can't find time. I have so much homework, and then I don't even find the time to play. And how come you are taking out 4 hours daily, right? And then they discuss that this is what I do. This is how I complete my homeworks fast, and they take those real life tips from those who are achieving more.
So nice.
Right, and they inculcate in their routines and make themselves
That's
better.
so inspiring and very unique, I would say,
Right.
because same level, they're 8-year-olds or 7-year-olds
Exactly.
discussing.
Right.
One more good thing that you're doing, I would say, is inculcating the habit of socializing.
Right.
Because these days everybody is into their gadgets or just their family. Everything is becoming me and my family. There's
Exactly.
an excellent family
Right.
sometimes. So it's so nice to have that community of just kids.
I know, and see, there's a lot that happens in the adults' learning space in terms of community, right? But there is not much done at the children's level
Right.
for that community.
Yeah.
So that is my thought, to have a moderated environment for them to come, connect, get inspired with each other, and able to share their doubts, share their concerns, and some subject matter experts can come and help them.
It's more like you forge even friendships as well.
Right.
And you have similar interests. It's
Similar
like
interests.
networking for the kids.
Yeah, it's for
That's
the
very
networking, and their thought span also enhances, right? Like till that time they were only thinking about what all exposure they are getting in their local. But when they come and see it at a global frame, their thought span also enhances that, yeah, I can also do this.
That's very, very nice. And since you're a global community and a brand, so kids of different spaces can also be like you said, this person is from Kolkata, that person can be from US.
Right.
So it's so nice to have that kind
Exactly.
of atmosphere. That's
Right.
very inspiring, Radhika. Very, very nice thought.
Yeah.
How did you come up with it?
So that little bit travels back to my corporate experience. So in my last job before I started lifestyle learning, I was also fostering a community there. It was also called Learners Cafe. The Learners Cafe is like it goes along with me. And in my previous venture, we were doing it for the data science and AI part. Like I was working in that team, and I started this concept of Learners Cafe where people are coming and taking up any of the topic and explaining it to the peers in their office space, right? And we made it like we started with a bi-weekly, and you won't believe it turned out into weekly. It was so much traction. But the thing is, I have seen the potential by executing it for adults in my corporate experience in my last job, and I got a lot of kind of like appreciation from not only from the top in the management, even from the bottom fresher ones, that nobody make us think about it or give us the knowledge at this level, because it's like there's a lot of information on the internet, but something which is curated to your workspace, like this is the project we are doing and this is the data science module we are using. Nobody teaches a fresher coming to that level, and it was helping them a lot. Right? Even even within the people who are experts, they were experts in their field. But when they were hearing others, right, the other part of it, there were a lot of ideas which were coming and flourishing. Oh, I could have utilized this in my project. I could have done that. So there's a lot of synergy started flowing in with these sessions, and I saw the potential. And I was always wondering why it is not done for a child's level. And that's when I started it off. I just not started the instructor-led classes. I started a little bit of the community part also.
That's very good. I mean, communities are something that helps, and
Exactly.
it makes that space more secure, more warm. There's a lot of trust.
There's
That
a lot of
is
trust.
because you're catering to parents and kids. So your customer can be the kid,
Yeah.
but you need to first convince or rather talk to the parent.
Right. So it's like my end users are kids,
Yeah.
but my customers are parents.
That's something like that. Yeah.
Something like
So it's more like very tough, right? Because in other places you need to just convince the customer.
Exactly.
But over here, it's the customer, it is the end user, both play a very important role.
Exactly.
So have you faced any challenges in dealing with these?
Right. I mean, little bit. So the way it works out is parents always look out for outcomes. Okay. And when we are working with very young child, right? Like because I said we started from elementary, middle, and high school. So when we are starting with very young child,
What is the entry age?
5 years.
5.
Correct. So when you are dealing with that young child, you cannot always have a class which is gonna be just focused on this is the outcome I want from my class, because it all depends on the mood of the child. It all depends on if the child, say for example you are taking a math class, and if the child has asked a question which is not relevant just to that topic, shall we just shuns off that curiosity of the child just to make sure that the session plan goes in place, or we address that too, right? Because the intent is we deliver maximum to our child, right? But to a parent it looks like I was supposed to get this milestone by this time, right?
Correct.
So we get those kind of concerns where we curate the classes, we make it more interesting, make it more knowledgeable for our children, but we have to keep a tap on and making a parent understand that okay, this is the lesson plan, this is what we have achieved, right, and this is what is the target for next. How we did that is doing a regular parents-teacher connect. Okay, where we explain the parents that this month what all we have achieved with your child, and next month what is the plan for the child, right? And then we keep the open communication with the parent where they can tell if they are not finding anything aligned, okay, if they are finding that maybe in the class the child was very happy, but after the classes the child is saying, I don't want to do homework. Example, right? I don't want to do assignments. I'm finding anything tough. So the parents have those insights, right? And it's very important for a teacher to know what a student is doing beyond the classes for that subject learning, right? And it's very important for a parent to know that why the teacher is following or why the teacher is doing what she is doing, he or she is doing, right? So we bridge that to this regular parents teacher. Right? And then the things started flowing very well. Now we are able to address both the segments and understand the why better from the student's perspective, from the parent's perspective, from the teacher's perspective.
So you're truly an ally.
Yeah, right.
You kind of bridge all the gaps
Exactly.
and address everybody. But don't you think that's a little stressful at times wherein everybody wants to speak to the teacher, or the teacher is like, okay, this particular kid is doing this kid is not doing. So how do you manage that?
Right. See, very importantly, I have to manage everything. Most of my classes goes personalized. We have group classes, but we believe in effectiveness of learning. So most of my groups are also very short, not more than 5. We have put on tap that we are not going to have a group more than 5 students, because then it becomes a YouTube.
Correct.
it doesn't become an interactive class or attention for the child. So we keep on tap for ourselves. But to answer your question, what we do is every month in the first week or the first class of every month, there is going to be a PTM in the last 10 minutes of the class. Okay. It's easy for parents to remember. It's easy for teachers to remember, and then what happens is it's not that somebody's extra time is getting involved. So a lot of scheduling issues are also getting sorted out. So I learned it through my experiences when when we used to have quarterly PTMs, but then we used to be a 30 minutes PTM. Then I break it down to monthly, because it's better to fail fast, right? It's very important. Like if there is something building up in a child's heart, which the child has conveyed to the parents, it's very essential for the teacher to know.
Correct.
Right? If the child has got some distraction to the learning, it's essential for a teacher to know and curate the program faster so that the interest of the child is back.
That's good.
Right? So that's how we did it. I mean, I understand it becomes stressful, right? But then we made it a part of our curriculum, we made it a part of our class session itself, and it becomes an habit. We made it simple also. First class of every month is a PTM, please don't.
That's good. So you have so many different programs, right? So how do you manage and find the right instructor, say for Rubik's Cube or for chess or for graphic design? How do you find them?
Right. So as an institute, we have 50 plus instructors with us as of now, and for each skill that we teach, we always have 2 or 3 instructors with us. Right? So what happens with that is a contingency, right? If say for example by any chance one instructor has fallen sick, not able to take class for a considerable standpoint. So it's not that the child's learning is impacted, right? So we always have a contingency plan. Immediately we can have another tutorance. Then comes is matching the teaching style and the learning style of the student. So we give a lot of importance to match the learning style of the students so that they can absorb more from the classes, as well as their interest in learning that skill enhances. Right? So what we do is when we are taking the learning requirement from the parents, we also try to ask them in which way your child learns best. Whether it's in a structured, step by step, giving step 1, step 2, step 3 of solving the problem. Is that way the child is learning better, or the child enjoys knowing about a lot of things which is going around, right? And get inspired by more research, more new elements that are coming in that field, right? So what inspires the child to do the self-learning more and to understand the topic more? And based on that, we come back and match the teaching style of the instructors also, right? So the thought here is to match the natural, which is for the teacher, and the natural for a student, and then have the classes. What happens with that is, first thing, the child's continuity of learning enhances, the child's passion in learning that skill enhances, and to be honest, the retention of the child to the course also enhances. So it's not that the child drops off at the beginner's level, they continue towards the intermediate level, they continue towards the advanced level. And one important thing that we do is, all the instructors that we are hiring, we don't hire them that they are only for the beginner's level. We hire the instructor who have the knowledge base till the advanced levels in that field. So we hire actually the subject matter experts only as part of our team. What happens with that is, say for example, if the child has a doubt which is beyond the beginner's level and he has a curiosity about it, so the teacher does not, say that, oh, I will learn about it and I will come back to you in the next class. The teacher can satisfy the child's curiosity then and there to some aspects in that live session only, and then they can build up on more of it in subsequent sessions also. Right? So what happens with that is, the respect for the child, for the teacher enhances that, yeah, my teacher knows everything which is latest in the subject and which is complex in the subject. And another thing that happens is the child is ready to learn more. Right? So that's how we do a lot of focus on our teacher onboarding also, right? Like which teacher we are hiring and matching it to the what is the need of the students in US as well as in other geographies, right? Like with their learning style in general, and then personality-wise learning styles are also there. But in general, right? So we need to have teachers who can understand. Like when you're teaching a student abroad, you have to do a lot of positive reinforcement. Correct. There's no way that you can little bit also raise your voice to the child, right? And you should not do that. Correct. But we train and we also hire the teachers who have that kind of temperament, that kind of attitude, right? It's okay for a child to ask 10 times, but you be the same patient and you help in understanding the same topic in different ways. Correct. So that kind of soft skills in teacher onboarding is very important. Making them latest with what is going on in their field is also important. So we keep on doing more on that, right? And then we also bring on the element of what is going on in that geography for that skill and helping our teachers go through it, right? Like say for example in chess, we prepare the students for USFID rated tournaments. Oh wow! So our teachers are one who are well versed with how the US chess tournaments happen, right? And even if we are teaching the kids online, even if they go for a physical tournaments in chess, how to prepare the child for the physical tournaments, right? So we give a lot of nuances where there can be a point, kind of like a downside of online classes, and we try to address all of that upfront, right? So we understand where are the pros and where are the cons, and all the cons we address upfront itself, right? And like in piano and music part, we prepare the kids for Trinity College of London's certification. So we have teachers who are from the, they themselves are grade 8 certified in Trinity. So they can take the same student who have taken at a 5 years age in a piano till the grade 8 of the Trinity. So it's not that you need to change the future because this teacher can only teach till intermediate. So we have the teachers who are well versed to take your journey. You continue with the same tutor as your passion grows, and then the child is also getting like step-by-step milestones at the global level recognitions, getting Trinity certificates. So that encouragement from a child, from a parent, that oh wow, my child is getting something at the world level, that all keeps on growing. So that's how we kind of match the teacher and the students learning style, and that is helping us a lot in having the retention rate in our organization year over year. So I'm happy to say that there are many students, like 90% of the students who started with me in COVID are still with me.
Oh, that's an achievement, really.
That's an achievement, right? So that's the thing that happens there is, and I would say there is a 100% retention rate of the teachers also with us. So those who have started, there's only like one or two who have gone out of the team.
Like, because they're all the freelancers, right? So
that
how do
is-
you motivate them to kind of?
Oh yeah, that's where a lot comes up to the founder, because you have to manage everybody's personal part of it, right? And they are freelancers. Why? What's in for them to adapt to your policies, to do the way things you want to do, right? And I have seen there are many instructors with us who have actually taught in very giant edtechs also, right? So few of the things which when I ask them that what they are finding good here, they are finding we have like fair policies. They are finding their payments are never halted. It's always on time. We do like weekly payments to the teachers. We don't even do monthly payments. We do like weekly because we understand, right? The teachers need more coming up to their way. So why to hold it off for a month, 30 days to get some payment? Right? Why don't we release it, make it quick? So they are loving it. It's always on time. There is never any default. And most importantly, the respect they are getting. That is what that is keeping them here. And as an institute, we were able to fill their slots also. Right? Like if they are saying, I'm open for 7 hours a day, we were able to fill their 7 hours a day. If they are saying, I want to take only 2 hours a day classes, we are able to fill their 2 hours a day. So, I mean, all their requirements are being met. They are getting volumes here, as well as they are getting that respect and what's in for me, they are able to get it. But yeah, I'm happy to say that the teachers and the students' retention rate is very high because of this curation, right? Like a lot of, before we get the student and teacher connect in a class, there's a lot goes on in figuring out who's the best person to teach this student, and even onboarding or even training our teachers to the level that they will be successful with the child. So that all is helping a lot.
That's nice. So, say for example, like of course you have like 50 odd trained women, and you have really searched and found the best, right? So, and it's not just for one particular field. You've done it for like 20 programs, right? So, how did you kind of find them? Like, is it via LinkedIn or do you go there personally? Because in freelancing, there should be some metric to test whether they match the quality that you're seeking for. So, what would you give as a tip to somebody who's trying to get someone for, say, chess or for graphic design?
So, there is a secret sauce there. I'll be honest, right? Because the entire institute, the way I look at it is, if in EdTech, if you have the good teachers, very knowledgeable teachers, you flourish. It's not always about getting the right content. Okay, it's about the last mile exact delivery. And so we rely a lot on recommendations. We rely on it's not that your profile is kept there and we just take it. So we make them go through multiple rounds of interviews. We help them align to like the ways of working, right? The kind of compassion we have towards students, the kind of compassion we have towards parents, and the communication skills that needs to have. So we kind of like filter it out upfront, that whether the temperament of the teacher is matching what we want as a part of our team, right? So we give a lot of rejections and everything at that stage, just to make sure that the parent is having a similar experience across the teachers.
Exactly.
Right? It's very important.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that one teacher is having a very different teaching style and the other has a different teaching style, and even like we release assignments just after every class. There are regular tests. So the teacher has to do a lot of background work. So they should be ready for all those efforts also. It's not just taking one of the class and it's
Correct.
ending. So I mean, we match a lot on that segment and then we get into it. But yeah, we recommend, we just don't get it from the online sources. We go a lot with the personal recommendations from the experts in that field.
That's
So
very
how-
important.
That's very important.
And that's how you can probably, and that's when you can probably, find the right match and the good quality. And since they're all recommendations, you meet them or you speak to them personally, and that's how you create that, retention. touch.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Otherwise, people will be looking to, jump to another space.
Right. See,
And when that happens, it will be a problem to you.
Exactly. See, when I make a commitment to a parent that I will be taking your student for, say for example, right, grade Vaishnav. So the parent expects that this organization is going to take care of my child's learning for math for whole of the year, right? It's not that my teacher will say, I'm getting some bucks more in another institute and I'm leaving you. Touch wood, it has never happened, right? But the thing is, we only hire the instructors also who are not always about money, who can see a long-term growth with us. Right? It's not that you make a commitment for a child's learning, that is much more important than you getting some bucks higher in another student. So you don't just jump up across the student over student. You believe in giving the value to the students, and trust me, there's a lot of difference that comes in. So if you talk about how life skill learning has grown, it's, I would say, 90% is reference.
That's good.
And what happens with referrals, to be very honest here, for any business, when it comes to referrals, you assume it's gonna be a done deal. The moment the lead has come, you know that it's a done deal. Because there is somebody who is vouching for you that my child is enjoying, you are definitely gonna love it. Right? And they know the requirements. Like if, say for example, my daughter's friends, they will be in the same level of understanding, right, on any subject. Like say for example, food. Right? So they would be learning, they would be knowing some pretty much same amount in their school and they have got a similar experience. And when they get into the class, they know very well that if she is enjoying, my daughter is going to enjoy. Right? And then when it comes to reference, there is always a trust across the borders also. Right? So this reference and recommendations part works along. And to be honest, I believe in giving a lot of referral gratitude to my parents who are referring us. Then I put it up on ads.
That's actually very good. That's amazing.
So, why would I put a lot of ads and the Google ads and Facebook ads, and I know the conversion rate is gonna be 20:1, when I can give the same to my parents, and when they are referring, there's always this trust bond which is expanding across, and we are building on that. So instead of running ads, I give a lot of referral bonuses.
That's amazing. We need to be grateful to the ones that give us the business. I think that is something very, very important. And end of the day, they are your customers too. So you're taking very good care of your customers, and obviously they would want your firm to grow, and they would want more kids to benefit from somebody who is honest and compassionate and thinking so much about the kid. Right? So I think that's incredible and an amazing thing that you do. So now, like you said in the very beginning as well, so this is completely online and it makes it global for that particular reason. According to you, what do you think are the advantages of learning online and disadvantages of learning online? Although you bridge the gap, but personally speaking, if you had to, probably fix that gap even more, what would you do?
Well, that's a very interesting question, to be honest, right? And so as I said, right, it started off in pandemic, and it was at that time need of the hour to be online. But when the physical has started, right, how this, to be really honest, when the pandemic was going off, I was actually wondering whether the business will even survive, right? Because I have seen the burnt when it was not flourishing before COVID, and the way I would answer it is, as a parent, there is only so much you can make, go along with your child from classes to classes, right? Only that much you can drive. So even I have 2 kids, and there are few skills which has to be learned physically. Be it my son's, takes swimming classes or cricket classes or basketball and many more, right? So there are few which I do physical, and there are few which I do online, because there is a limit to how much I should guide them, right? And then I have my personal work and household things also. So there's a balance of online versus offline which is going to work, and we have to really pick up the things as a parent, that what all skills can be learned online and what all skills has to be learned offline. See, even if, say for example, even in a minute fraction of second you feel that online is not turning out to be best effective ways of working, what happens is, in this effort which is needed to drive from one classes to other classes, you end up not learning that skill. Right? In online, what happens is you are just needed 1 hour of that time. Right? Just the child is playing. In that 5 minutes, he can turn out and get into the classes. Right? So just that transition time for a child from doing another activity to get into the learning mode is just 5 minutes in an online setting, right? But in an offline setting, they have to prepare 30 minutes of a drive, get in there and do, right? So they don't take up a new skill, because there is so much they can accommodate in between. And even if you are learning it at an, I would say 90% of an efficiency, if you feel that online is not working out best for you, even if you are learning at a 90% of efficiency, it's much better than you are learning than just not learning that skill at all. Okay? And kids these days are actually required to learn a lot of skills. It's not that you just focus on your academics and you will be shining well in your corporate life. No, you need to have all the aptitudes. To be honest, when I get into chess with my kids, I understand how chess as a sport is very essential for every entrepreneur. So it's so essential, and then that's when I realized why the kings were used to play chess. Right? Is because you need to strategize, not 1 move ahead, 2 move ahead, 3 moves ahead. You need to understand your, what the competition and what is going around you. You have to be visionary to think 3 moves ahead, and most importantly, a humility to understand what the other person is thinking. Okay, like when I'm dealing with these instructors from varied faces, or when I'm dealing with parents, if I can put myself into their shoes, and when I'm discussing the concerns with them, it gives me a totally different perspective of conversation, right? Because I can put myself into their shoes, and that's what chess teaches us. Exactly. When you are playing your move, you don't have to think about, I think it is going to give you checkmate. You have to think about what the opponent is going to play, right? What the opponent is thinking, and then how can you make the things turn in your direction, right? How can you turn the table in your direction? You have to always think from what the other side party is thinking. Putting yourself into their shoes and what they might be thinking for the same situation. What maximum they want to get benefited out of that negotiation. Example. Right? And then when you understand their point of view, that what they want from this conversation, from this negotiation, and then you start talking about it, there's a totally different way the conversation folds into, right? Because it always starts with, there's somebody who's thinking the way I'm thinking, right? Somebody's thinking about what's in for me, and then giving the best proposal. That's it, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's not as a parent also. You need to decide what all things needs to be done physically in the classes, and what all skills you have to teach the child online, so that you can balance their learning portfolio and make him a better person, make him a better professional, right? And help them for a success of life. So all these skills which we are learning from chess or a piano or an arts or even public speaking, creative writing, they are setting the foundation for the success of whole of your life, right? So that's what I was saying to answer your question, that build a portfolio of skills that you want your child to excel in. The child has interest as well as you see the child career plan, and then divide them across physical and online classes and let that learning flow.
And since you have these expertise, then maybe in the future, do you think catering to the in-person sessions as well, like if you have a contact or anything, that you can put it across there, tie up with them so that the child gets a holistic development. It's not just the online, but also in person.
Right. See, this is Vandana, to be honest, it's a choice which I'm deliberately making, right? Because I'm a mother too, right? The thing that happens is when you have an online venture, your infrastructure cost, your efforts which are spent in making sure that institute is running well, all the amenities, all the hygienes and everything, right? From minute details, that effort is sorted out. Okay. And there is a lot of earning potential there for sure, but I'm deliberately not going there because I don't want whole of my 24 hours going into life skill learning, because I have to balance for my child also.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a journey which every mom especially will go through. I will not say the fathers don't go through this journey, but yes, we have to make a balance that how much growth do you want, right? You need to be clear about it. Like, you can always have more in your plate, but then it should not, impact the other sides of your life. And we should have a sustainable environment where your personal and professional can flourish together, and you don't regret. Right? After 10 years down the line, it should not happen that, oh, I gave everything to this and I neglected the other side so badly that there's a void in me.
Correct. Right, that's a very nice point.
Yeah.
To have that balance between your professional and your personal life. And many entrepreneurs these days, first of all, the outside world thinks that it's very glamorous.
Right.
Because it's very flexible, you get a lot of money and everything. But what do you think? Is it the reality of any entrepreneur? Like, how is that more? One is the balance. It's very hard to get that particular balance, because every time you're constantly thinking about work, or sometimes you're with your kids and then you're thinking, maybe I can do this particular thing in my workspace. Again, you're pulled back to work. Right. So what do you think about this entire entrepreneurial journey?
See, that's a very touching point, Vandana. I would say many entrepreneurs can relate to me, and it's very hard to strike a balance. Right? When you have something on, something started of your own, you are like 100% liable. Not only for your efforts, for each member of your team efforts. Right? Now, like I will just give you an example. All my classes are recorded. Okay? Because I want to make sure the quality of teaching is there. And then as an entrepreneur, I go back and see those recordings, maybe not a daily frequency, but I see that recording. See, the thing is, you cannot shut off your eyes from any segment, because every segment has a touch point with the child, with the impact that you're making, and any mistake we are making there can be a big blow to the entire organization, even if it is a very small mistake. Right? So, especially during the early ages, you have to take care of each and every aspect of it. Right? You are like one person for handling even sales and marketing and operations. You have a team, but you have to supervise them in a very efficient way to build that confidence in the parents, to build that brand and the trust in the organization. So when you are having so many things going around, thinking it's a glamorous world and all, and believe me, I have friends of mine who have get into that venture capital front, and they say that getting into that funding mode and everything is the most crazy thing you can think about. Right? So it's much better that you sustain on your own than getting into the funding, because there is this lot of external pressure on you to perform the way they want to perform. Right? Then your value system and everything starts getting a little devalue from that initial vision statement. So whosoever is thinking entrepreneurship is a very lucrative world, get get a double check on that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a very satisfying work.
That's true.
I mean, entrepreneurship you should do only when you feel that there's a strong urge in you to make an impact, and the cause you're solving, you have 100% believe in it, right? Because the only thing that you will get out of entrepreneurship is the satisfaction that you are making an impact. When I was in my corporate job, I was doing the thing, and n number of times I used to question, what is the impact of this thing? What is the impact of this report to the organization, to the world that I'm making, and I'm struggling and doing that? And to be honest, right, even the corporate jobs are taking 15 hours a week this time.
Exactly.
It's not easy in corporate also. Then when I started getting this strong urge that my work is not making an impact, I was on a standpoint that I really want to do this. And I'm happy to have a very great support from my husband. Very lovely guy there. But God's blessing to have him in my life. But he supported me, and I get into this entrepreneurship journey. But else, for a woman who is into entrepreneurship, it's very, very difficult if you don't have a support from your husband or from your family in that matter, because you're going to have a crazy life. You're going to have a lot of unexpected things being done. Not something which you can put into 9 to 6 bucket, right? So there's a lot which goes on there, and unless you have a good family support, you cannot do it that well. So 2 things I would say: what you get out of what you get out of entrepreneurship is not the luxury and the glamour and other part; it's the satisfaction that you get out of it, and maybe a proud for your family that you are making an impact. Right. So that's what we get out of it. No luxury, no glamour.
It's an added bonus if we do it well. But I think it's like very superficial, that aspect of it. It's the work that we do, it's the impact, like how you said very rightly, makes you very, very happy, and how it grows and expands, and what are the things that you got to do to make that happen is the journey is what gives you the satisfaction.
That is, I mean, to be honest, it's a journey which is most satisfying. Right? I'm one of the persons who does not go much into finance every day, because what happens there is I don't want to be driven with finance. I don't want that, okay, this is my sales target and I have to make it hook and crook. No. I don't want my vision to get diluted with how much we were able to convert this month or this quarter and all. So I don't go much into finance intentionally, also because that that puts me into unintended ways of like, say for example, there's a parent who is taking classes with me, and I oversell them. Oh, this is also very good for your child, and you do it also. And no, just to meet my sales target, I don't want to add something to my parents which is not relevant for them, right? Or say for example, there's a lot of buzzword about Vedic maths. So they think that even an elementary student can learn Vedic maths, and then I tell them no, it's all about shortcuts, it's all about tips and tricks. And you should never get into it unless the child has a good foundation laid on the mat. That's why I say no to them, that this is not good for you. Don't go for it just because the buzzword is going around and others are teaching that 7 years Vedic maths. Don't go into it, because it's not the right stage to actually learn the Vedic maths. Right? So there's a lot that we have to consult and tell the parents also that this is right for this age of the child, not just because there's a buzzword around and you also think your child should be ready for it, and you start getting them early on in that skill. Then you can learn only 3 or 4 sessions of it. But what's after that? Right? It ends there. You should get into that learning mode when the child has a mental ability to sustain that learning for a little, like at least complete one level of it, right? Complete the beginners, complete the intermediate at that age group. So yeah, I mean, I do prefer to be a person whom parents can trust, that if they are saying it is not ideal for the child now, it is ideal after 1 year of age, it's okay to wait, not get into it right away just because the buzzword is being around.
That's very honest and true.
Right.
That's when the trust gets built in.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem like everything is a sales pitch.
Everything is a sales pitch, right? And
You need to be honest. It's the kids that is involved over here.
to be honest, right? And as a mother, when you get into it, right, it's more connected. Like, you feel like every child is like your child. So that's what's happened when you're working with kids.
That's
Yeah.
And say for example, you need to kind of give any kind of tip to any entrepreneur today. What is that tip that you would give them so that they are happy, satisfied, and not that stressed? Because these days people get stressed for smallest of small, like how you were talking about. If I don't get my targets,
Right.
then I get really worked up. Okay, my targets are not set. A lot of entrepreneurs will feel that.
Right.
So what is the tip that you would give them so that they don't feel this much of stress and it's okay, ho jayega?
Right. See, very important thing which I learned is it's ideas are dying. It's the execution which is the key. Okay, so you might have a lot of ideas, and there are a lot of competitors who are doing that same idea, but nobody can take away the execution that you bring it to the table. Right? So you believe in your execution of that idea, not just that, oh, this is idea of out of the world and things. No, once you execute it well, that's when you start building, right? That's when you start scaling. So always have a trust in your vision, okay, and getting that vision into reality, right? It's not about like there are so many giants in the market. Why would anybody come to somebody who's very new? Because you're giving that personalization, you're giving that curation, you're giving that what's in for a customer, which they are not getting from the giants, right? So believe in. My only tip is have a belief in your vision, right, and execute it. It's not that you just have it in your mind. That idea is nothing. Implement it in a way that your customers are really happy with it. It's always important to hear more than talk more. Okay, just listen to your customer as much as you can, right? There will be some or other tips which nobody else is doing but you can do. So bring in those kind of elements into your customer understanding. And listen to them, even if they are saying something which is not related to what you are doing right now, but it will give you an aspect of what are the touch points, what is the lifestyle, what is the thought process of the general crowd which is going around there, right? And it gives you a lot of ways to curate your things in that mode. So I would say these are very important for any entrepreneur who is getting into getting afresh into entrepreneurship, and this how to manage the stress, right? See, it's very easy to get built into, okay, this is my target and I want to achieve more and more. But if you're really looking out for a sustainable model, right? It's not that a 2 years that journey that you're looking for and you want to exit making maximum money out of it, right? But if you're really looking for building a brand which goes generations after generations, then you have to think about making it in a sustainable mode. Okay, it's not that you're making something, getting a good valuation, just you are out of it, making most money of it, but you devalue your brand. Nobody wants to take you again in your valuation and journey part of it. So, but what is more important that is you believe in your model, you believe in sustainability of that model, you build it for generations, not build it for 10 years or 5 years, short term. Okay, so once you have this thing, right, like once you're already in that for a long-term game here, a lot of this stress goes away, for sure, right? And it's a long-term, so your KPI changes. Your KPI does not become that how much percentage profit I have this year, or how much sales I have this year. Your percentage profit, your KPI starts getting into how much retention I had, right? How much sustainability I had, how much referrals I had, how many people are liking my product and referring it to many more. So your KPIs changes when you shift your paradigm from short term to a long term, and that's how we manage the stress. See, the money is a thing which is always less. Even Ambani's and the Bill Gates of the world will also have this urge to earn more, right? There's never ending urge for it. What you should look for is, at the end of it, you would be always looking for an happiness, right? Like when you start asking the question, what is the purpose? Why are you, like if somebody asks me, why are you doing lifestyle learnings? Okay, I want to make an impact. I want to address a problem. Why do you want to address a problem? You start dwelling that question for 5 times. The end point is, I want to be happy. So never leave that end point of that I want to be happy. Even if you will become like a multi-millionaire or a unicorn, end of it, after 5 whys, you will find that I want to be happy. And that happy part is never associated only with money. It's about your content with yourself, it's about your satisfaction. So never lose that, why are you doing this? To be happy. So don't compromise your happiness for whatever what is going around. Don't compromise the soul of it.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the only way to navigate this crazy path, right? So just keep your focus steady. At the end, you're always looking to be happy, and you are already happy, right? So don't lose that part, right? Nobody else can give you happiness.
Correct.
It has to be it has to come from your inner core. So don't lose out or don't compromise on it.
That's very nicely put, I would say. Like when you were talking about sustainability, it is something that I relate to a lot. Like how Tatas and Ambanis have built their legacy. It's not something that was only for one particular segment. It was for so many segments, and it was so nicely put. Because when you think about it in that way, then the small thing, whatever has happened, will make a difference, right? Because you're in the long-term game. So I really loved that aspect of what you said, and I hope that many entrepreneurs who start also get inspired from this, because it's not always the money. I mean, I remember, as you were talking about, I got my first paycheck from my company. It was around, I think, 40,000. I was so happy, after which, trust me, money has never been a motivation factor for me. It was the process. It's just the first time, like when you get the money, you're like, okay, I got the money. But afterwards, the second time, I was least bothered about it. I was like, okay, fine, let's try to get more customers, so that they learn what is mental well-being, or how happy are they, or what are they gaining from this. That is so nicely put.
And to be honest, Vandana, what you guys are doing is really, really commendable, because there is, if you look around, right, when I was coming to this session, I was also, as an entrepreneur, we go through a lot. Like our mental well-being is also at stake, right? And our mental well-being is something which is impacting so many more. So it's very essential that we are calm, we are having the right clarity in what we are doing, right? And that focus, attention, calmness. Because say for example, if I talk rudely to a teacher, I'm just giving an example, right? As an entrepreneur, if I am not calm and I talk rudely to a teacher, there are 2 ways. The teacher might just walk away, or the teacher might get upset. Ultimately, it's going to impact the child, right? So there is a lot of ripple effect that happens when you are not in your calm and when your mental well-being is compromised. So what you guys are doing is not just that one person you are impacting. You are impacting a lot of ripple effect that person who was associated with that one person are going to experience, right? So if I talk with a motivation to a child, and if I can bring out that motivation in a child, sometimes it's like life changing for that child, right? And if I myself is not calm and not able to bring that inspiration or the thought provoked in that child, I'm losing a chance to make an impact for their life, right? And what you guys are doing is really commendable in making sure that every person is in their calm, is in their true self, in their mental well-being is being taken care of, and that's how the ripple effect to the entire society as a whole is being ensured. So, teamwork to you.
I mean, I like how you explain the whole thing so in such a simple manner. Right? It's correct. The ripple effect. It's not just you who are through something. It's about how you interact with the other person, how you make the other person feel. And if you're having a bad day, of course, you're not going to be your best self.
Exactly.
It's going to affect the other person, and that's how many a times it impacts not just one person but an entire family.
Right.
So it's very nicely put, and how you said, every founder or every leader for that matter needs to have a good mental health. Otherwise, it not only affects them, it affects a lot more.
Exactly.
Especially in corporates, it's like not just that employees, their family, so many people.
True. And that ripple effect can be very, very huge. Exactly. Sometimes, as a manager, say for example, you just shouted just because you were so angry, right? Or somebody else has bursted out on you, you go and burst out on your subordinates, and that subordinate goes home and bursted on the child or on the wife. It's not just the corporates which are getting impacted, it's the family, it's the, it's very young minds are getting impacted with not being in your calm. So it's very essential that we all practice and have the mental well-being and stay in that zone, right? Don't stress yourself, and I would say, to be honest, with a lot of information about mental well-being and a lot of knowledge about mental well-being, now people are not scared to come to counseling also, right? They don't feel it as a taboo. And I think we should go and just express ourselves out, because that is the moment when you get a clarity of your thought. Like, what was triggering me for those anger moments? So what was triggering me? What is wrong with you? Sometimes you keep on asking yourself. So once you have those counseling sessions, a lot gets sorted out also. So I would say every founder needs a lot of counseling.
Yeah, that's very true. It is something that people are starting these days. When the founder goes and speaks to a counselor, and once they have their recovery, the entire organization heals, and they become a lot more better. They're more productive, or the environment is good. Retention, what you were talking about, is a very important thing. In this day and age, wherein everybody is just skipping from one job to another job, being in one single space and understanding their vision and working towards it, that is more satisfying rather than where I get more money. Because you won't really grow in that space. You're only chasing money. And after a point, what you said, it's happiness that you look for. Right? So it's all very well connected and nicely put, Radhika. Really amazing.
Thank you so much.
So we spoke so much about entrepreneurship and you as an entrepreneur. Let's try to understand the person behind it. So how are you in your childhood? Did you always want to be an entrepreneur, or is it something you understood as in when you grew up? Like you worked in corporate for some time, then you started it. So how was your journey?
Oh, that's a very, very nostalgic. So I can tell you, picture this. An 5-year or 4-year-old girl having a blackboard in front of her and having a chalk and is teaching right, to other 2 years and 3 years old. Okay? So picture that and picture me. So that's how I remember myself. So even in my kindergarten, I used to have a blackboard and I used to teach something. So there was some memories of me there where I definitely I was inspired by the teachers, I was inspired by the impact they are making, and I wanted to be one. Right? But somehow the life happened and you never get to realize or do what you actually wanted to do. And after like 15 years of corporate job and that void was coming, right? Like my work is not making any impact. Right? I don't see anybody saying that because of you somebody's life has got any benefit or any good. So that was a big void which was coming to me. And yeah, I feel like during my high schools and even in college, I gave some private tuitions and I was teaching. But to be honest, I'm not a very good teacher. Okay, but I always wanted to work in that space. And when I got this opportunity where I can create an ecosystem where those who are best at it are delivering the knowledge, I definitely see that my dreams are getting realized. And then I thought that after 15 years of corporate journey, what's in for me to lose? Right? I can always come back to my corporate. Why don't once in a life live my life? It's only one chance I got. Right? It's only one life you have got. And still you're thinking and keeping your passions to yourself for what? Right? So that's how it started off. But yeah, I mean, I'll always have this passion and respect for teaching, respect for teachers. In kindergarten age, I wanted to be a teacher. Then I realized I'm not that very good a teacher. so then I made this ecosystem where teachers can
So from the age of 5,
yeah,
you've been in this world, or you wanted to create this world and impact so many different people. And I think that's such an amazing thing. You've carried it from childhood Radhika to an entrepreneur. That's
True.
amazing.
And I would just say that if you all also have that kind of vision, right, then back then and you want to do it because you really have got one life to live. Don't just life to happen or the way it is coming to you. Take a moment, step and chase your dreams. It's okay even if you fail. At least you gave a fair try.
And is there anything that you want to kind of say to anybody who wants to start a learning platform like yourself? Maybe not catering to kids, or maybe catering to kids, and there are so many other programs, right? So what is it that you would want to give them as a suggestion or a tip?
See, whenever you are coming up with a learning platform, always look out for the outcomes. Okay, so your outcomes are not just getting a job. Like if you're doing it for the corporates, just how can you get a job, or your outcome is not always about getting them some certifications.
Okay.
So those are transactions, and those are not going to sustain for long. What you should be actually looking for, again, little long term. Say for example, you're teaching data science and AI, which is very hot these days, and you're teaching it to many young minds. Don't just think about it that okay, for clearing this interview you will need that. They are gonna have a very bad time in their offices. So give them a right foundation. Give them an understanding that how they can work in a corporate, even if they have a problem statement which they have not expertise in learning, where and how they can get it around, right? They can learn on their own, they can learn on the project also. So give them an upbringing or a foundation which is not related to something transactional, but set them for success of whole of their life. So that ways you will have people who are gonna be there with you or refer you for long term because you have impacted something for their life, right? So that's where I would say you will feel an impact going around. Think from a longer perspective of what that child or what that individual or an adult would need with this skill, okay, and how this skill is going to help them in a long term. So once you start thinking from that perspective, and I personally believe a lot in reference, so that's sure is going to be very huge for you, and that's how you will grow a lot. So that's what I would say. You can also always try to leverage technology as much as you can. There's a lot of generative AI coming up these days. Use it to your benefit. Use it to how you can make it more easy for your students to learn, make it how impactful for them to learn. It's going to be a great changer, I would say. So leverage it instead of late entry into the market with new adoptions in technology. Be the first one to adopt the new technology. Right? Experiment it out. What is going around? Even if the technology is not mature enough now, you get some understanding of it. Back off when the technology becomes more mature. Again, come back. But instead of that does not align with my ways of working, I'm not blind about it, don't be that. You get into it, understand what are the potential it has, how it can be used for your benefit, or how you can synergize with what is latest in technology. And then, keep on an eye on that. But I would definitely suggest bringing long-term impact is something of which every learning platform should look into. And being latest in the technology is going to help them.
So, yeah. And last, what is the vision for life skill learning?
So that's, very well put, and that is very clear in our mind. The vision is to be a partner to a parent in their children's learning journey, and we want to bring out an impact in each phase of the child, right? Like, say for example, if the child is in elementary stage, we want the child to explore as many skills as possible, right? Because that's going to shape their personality, whether it's chess or piano or art or public speaking or creative writing or academics also. But give them an exposure to multiple skills. Every skill is going to set an element of life skills in them, right? Every skill is going to teach them that. Once they progress to middle school, the vision is how to set a strong foundation on academics as well as give them global level educations. So it's not that like the chess and the piano that they started, it's just lying there, but can we get them some global level certifications in their areas of interest, right? Be it Olympiads, if somebody is good in math, somebody is good in science, can they get some good recognitions on Olympiads or competitive exams, right? But when the child is coming to high school, there's a lot of pressure on academics only, so they are not able to do a lot of co-curricular learning in high school because they have to prepare for the college admission, which is very essential. See, very rightly put, if you can invest a lot of your energies in high school in learning, there's a substantial part of your life which is set. Okay? So, all the high schoolers out there, I would say, our vision is also to make the high schoolers not only for the college journey but for the life success, right? And think from a perspective, what skills you would need when you get into college, what skills will you need when you get into corporates, right? So think from that standpoint and start laying the foundation little early on. And once you start laying that foundation, you find the journey is easier and easier at each step of time. So that is what a vision of life skill learning is. How to assist a parent in their child's learning journey and how to make an impact in a child's lifelong success. So that's what we are doing, and we have a lot of curated programs.
Amazing. It's so nicely put. The programs that you have also, like as you were telling, in high school, that's when you lay the foundation of your life. Right? So you have things like public speaking or coding and such like website designing. So it not only teaches you a skill, but it also helps you to understand that this is a field that you would want to probably pursue as a kid.
Right.
And it's taught in a fun way. It's not taught in a way that you have to complete this particular thing. And also, if they're doing well, you're giving an opportunity for them to showcase that skill not only as a passion but as a certification or something that is recognized globally. I think it's amazing, Radhika, what you're doing. So there are a lot of business lessons that we learned from you, I think. So the first thing, which is my favorite, was the chess.
Yeah.
And you said that every entrepreneur needs to learn or understand what chess is because it's about strategy, it's about planning, it's about not just thinking from your point of view, but thinking from others' point of view. And it's about longevity. It's not just like a short-term thing, but it's a long-term thing. And the second thing which you really said, and I also resonate with this, to create a company which lasts for a longer time, and it's multi-generation. It is not something that is short-term or add together VC and then have an exit, but it's more than that.
Right.
And the third thing is customers. How you treat them, how you make them feel is what is going to be a direct impact on how your business does. Because if you're not having a good customer service, if you don't treat them well, if you don't respect them, then your company might not last long. I mean, you might get a lot of money, but the reputation, the way in which people speak about your company might not be the same way as how they speak when you treat them well, right? And another thing which you said is about, having a balance. You need to do hard work, definitely, but it's good to have a balance and always having somebody to talk to about your concerns. If not a counselor or a therapist, a friend or a support system, as how we were talking about, all these things are very vital in your journey as an entrepreneur. So thank you so much for giving us all of these amazing words of wisdom, and I wish you very best for life skill learning, and I hope you impact many kids.
And same here, thank you for having me. It was such a lovely conversation with you, Vandana, and I wish a lot of success for Psychoflakes also, because you guys are doing an amazing job and continue making that impact. As I said, it's not the one person's life you're impacting a lot of ripple effects that the person is having on a family, from a society, and the world as a whole. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.